This video was made possible through the kind folks that have supported me on Patreon. If you'd like to see more Patreon requested videos, be sure to contribute to it. And if you have any suggestions for videos of the type, be sure to comment them down below. There's been this apparent trend lately where I've been too negative on my channel. And looking at what I've released, saying Rise from the Ashes is the worst thing ever made for this series, shitting on a whole anime live, and calling Emma Sky a cunt, I can't really say I see it. But hey, to appease the masses, I'll do something that hopefully does not make me have a bad opinion. So, let's talk about them plot twists, eh? Of course, there's the usual ones of figuring out who was the true killer that can throw me for a good swerve, but even then, some other moments come along and slap you in the face with its I didn't expect that to happen glove on, and I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, that just happened. I do recommend playing the games yourself if you haven't, as the plot twists themselves are best experienced blind, but I'll be putting a spoiler warning before each entry in case there's anyone out there that is yet to see these beautiful swerves. With each case, you're always presented with someone behind a piece of glass that has been wrongfully accused of a crime, and it's your job to prove them not guilty. So what if your client was actually responsible? Matt on guard says hello. It's honestly really brilliant how well set up this was. You're lured in with this false sense of security when you ask Matt if he didn't kill Juan Corrida, as no Cyclops actually show up. And it all makes sense at first, given how Matt is presented as the typical quirky defendant. Put him side by side to Maggie and Max. He fits in perfectly. Phoenix then tries to nail Adrian Andrews as the criminal because that's standard for the series at this point. Once the first trial is over, the issue is no longer who killed Juan, but who hired assassin Shelly to kill her. With that now being the question, asking Matt instead results in not only Cyclops, but scars over his eyes and magical brandy. I still don't know where that glass came from. You're now looking at a criminal who has you cornered. Not only are you essentially forced to give a murderer a not guilty verdict due to the kidnapping of Maya Fey, but someone else will take the fall in place of Matt. If you instead decide you want to do the right thing and put on guard in his place, it would come at the expense of Maya's life. Imagine if Francisca never came to the rescue in that amazing scene and your choice of guilty or not guilty really affected the ending of the game. Thankfully, everything works out in the end, and Guard is in jail, or is already dead because the killer finally got him. Either way, he's fucked. Defeat has never tasted sweeter. Turnabout Trump is the best case in Apollo Justice. It's so full of mystery and shock. And my starting point is defending the protagonist of the last 3 games. Ah, Phoenix, being accused of murder again, are we? You scamp, you. Also, Turnabout Trump doesn't give any hints as to who the killer is, which is a first. Of all the people to be said murderer, I wasn't expecting it to be my own mentor. Christoph Gavin was Apollo's experienced senior partner that had a previous friendship with Phoenix. Plus, he's featured on the front cover, so he is the least likely person I'd expect to be fingering as the first criminal. It's a curveball when you consider the reason why he's suggested to be a killer is one line indicating he knew the color of the playing cards when he shouldn't have. Not something you'd look into deeply and think, hey, that sounds suspicious, you must be the killer, you blonde, beautiful bastard. Especially considering the theme here is trust nobody, whereas in other games it's pretty clear-cut on who you do and don't trust. So really, you even wonder if you should trust Phoenix when he makes this suggestion, considering he lost his badge due to a forgery he supposedly did. But then again, this is Phoenix, right, we're talking about, the man we spent 3 whole games with, who we came to love because of his miracle of the ass-pulling he does often. I think we can trust him on this one. To this day forward, friendship ended with Christoph. Now Phoenix is my best friend. Ultimately, Phoenix is right, like his last name suggests, and Christoph goes to jail. Fake cards can solve anything, can't they? To Dual Destinies had an overall nice theme going for it. The whole Dark Age of the Law, with each villain being a corrupt worker in some form of legal profession, police, politics, law school, and the big bad villain at the end is the most powerful when it comes to everyone else. Would you really expect that the detective who breathes justice ever since you first met him was actually a spy in disguise as the real Bobby Fulbright, who I shall remind you is dead, and would also be a key factor into the development of two main characters, as well as one of the most dramatic moments in the series? I sure didn't. Turnabout for Tomorrow keeps you on the edge of your seat with all the twists it pulls. Everything comes back to this spy known as the Phantom being responsible for it all. Things such as bombings, murders, the reason why Simon's in prison, which itself led to the other half of the start of the Dark Age of the Law. Once you get to the trial, the drama kicks in hard. Not only is defending Athena of the previous murder of Clay Terran a big priority, but you also have to prove that Simon wasn't the one that murdered her own mother. It all comes back to this Phantom that committed several crimes 7 years before this game. Fulbright fooled everyone and almost got away with his wrongdoings. Just seeing the constant changing of faces on this guy showing how much of a master of disguise he is was pretty crazy. Really hammering in that the detective we knew for the whole game isn't who we thought he was. Special mention to the Moon Matrix segment with Fulbright to really show that he's gone. The guy with quite possibly the most expressive emotions in the series actually feels no emotions. It's very eerie, and I'm scared. Hold me. What I really appreciate about Investigations 2 is how every event is connected in some way. Pretty much everything ultimately affects the overall plot. All of the villains connect in some way to the final confrontation. And who is that final fight against? Some timid guy that trains monkeys who you defended from a murder accusation in the second case? Really, this is the last guy I'd honestly expect to be a murderer in the series, let alone the final boss. Less so for because who he is, looks can be deceiving, but more so for he was someone that you protected. And now you find out he was behind everything in this game. I think my brain just fucked itself inside out. I just find it amazing that this game managed to connect Simon Keyes to every other villain. Knightley is his childhood friend that he convinced to fake an assassination on the body double of the Zhengfa president, who he also tried to get Shelley the Killer to kill. Patricia Rowland was the owner of the orphanage he was at as a child, and he met her years later in prison where he performed in the circus. So he took that opportunity to take both her and Knightley out. Dane Gustavia is Simon's father, who abandoned him in the finale of the dessert contest, essentially causing Simon to become bitter and would use this event years later to plot his revenge. Blaise de Best helped Patricia Rowland cover up the assassination of the real Dijun Huang at the orphanage, and almost took out Siran Dojin in the process, but Simon helped him escape because the assassin helped Simon escape from the car that Knightley kidnapped him in, so he couldn't show up to his father's dessert contest. Not only does everything connect to him, he also gave everyone a nudge to commit their crimes as well, but even Edgeworth couldn't prove that. And to think, he probably just got a light prison sentence at worst. Dirk Sodmati is, low-key, the best part of Spirit of Justice. Alright, that's saying a lot since he was only in one case, but still, I love him dearly. So it makes me sad that every time I had an interaction with him, he wasn't even alive. It really was amazing what Dirk did just to see his son one last time. He rescued Maya, but in turn was shot and killed by man with the longest pun name ever. So he tells Maya to channel him once she gets out of the country, all just to see Apollo one last time. Okay, maybe also something about stopping a corrupted court system from killing defense attorneys, also one woman can continue to reign as queen, but I'm sure his kids were #1 priority. All the adventures along the way, all the drama, all the sarcastic fucking around. It's beautiful, and a true testament that family can never be broken. Dragons never really should yield for this kind of familial bonding. When you do get to the point of going back to North Korea, Dirk says he's not going to be around for much longer. In all honesty, the first thing that came to my mind when he said that was that he had cancer. I figured he's not going to be around much longer, and maybe there will be a sad death by the end of the game. But it hits like a fucking truck when you get the picture of Dirk's already dead body. I was like Apollo in this moment, absolutely begging Emma to say the theory was wrong, because I really wanted Dirk to still live. So not only accomplishing his goal of fixing the legal system is something you have to do, but also his other requests, that being make Nayuta great again. I'll do my best, Dirk. I've been saving this one for ages. The epic finger point of fine! This one's for you, Dad Lawyer! I'll make you proud! Accomplishing this goal of Dirk's was honestly very satisfying, making it more impactful that Dirk was already dead. Bless you, Dragon Man. Bless you.